Do you want to be in control of your career life? Do you want to make the most from your job and skills and live a more rewarding, fulfilling, and even progressive career life? You will, because you can. I am Karen Olege, a career strategist and coach. Welcome to this channel, Career Growth with Karen, where we empower ourselves to achieve our career aspirations and to have more fulfilling working days. Please subscribe to this channel, like the content, comment on it, share to your networks and friends, and let them also be part of this channel. Do not forget to follow me on my social media handles on LinkedIn and Facebook as Karen Olege, and in Instagram and TikTok as Career Growth with Karen. Also, tomorrow, that is Wednesday, every Wednesday we have a LinkedIn Live. Please follow me on LinkedIn, Karen Olege, search for me, follow me on LinkedIn, so that you can be part of our live sessions where we get to engage, ask questions, Q&A, ruminate on all this content that we go through, and just have a good time. In today's episode, we are looking at now, how do you actually exit your job? How do you resign? Do you know this is so simple, but some people actually still don't know how to do it? We'll be looking at how do you resign. We have been doing a series. It's been a 3-part series. So if you haven't watched part 1 and part 2, please go back and watch those and then come back to part 3. So let's get started. This is Career Growth with Karen. So guys, today we are talking about how do you exit your job? How do you actually quit? How do you actually resign? How many of you have resigned before, and how did you do it? There's some people who just, like, literally they posted the laptop to their office and they told them adios, see you another day. But there's some of us who have followed a process, and depending on how you did it, I don't know whether it was a good or a bad process for you. However, today I just want us to look at, remember, this has been part of a series. So you noticed the first part of the series was, how do you realize that it is time for a job move? Now, after you have realized, how do you position yourself for the next job that will work for you? That was part 2. And now in part 3, you have now found that job that works for you. So how do you actually exit your organization? So the first thing to do is to have a verbal conversation with your boss or your line manager or your supervisor. Please have a verbal conversation. Do not resign on email. The first thing to do is to have that verbal conversation. And when I say verbal, I mean face to face if you're working in an on-site environment, or if you're working remotely and you never meet face to face with your boss, do it on Zoom or on Teams or whichever method of e-meeting you always use. But let it be a verbal conversation where you set aside time with your boss and tell them, today I'd like to just notify you that I'm coming to my end, or the end of my time in this organization. And make sure it is not part of another meeting. Yeah, maybe you are meeting with your line manager to discuss about a certain project, and then at the end of it, as an AOB, you tell them, oh, and just by the way, so you know, I'm exiting. No. Please set aside at least 30 minutes of your time in their calendar and use that time to make this the agenda. Make that conversation the agenda. Don't put it as a by the way. And when you're going to have that conversation with your boss, assure them, first of all, thank them, express a positive attitude about how you have experienced the workforce, even if it has been negative. Guys, this is not the time to burn bridges. In any case, you already have a job. So you're not coming to insult your boss. Just come and tell them how you have been grateful for working there, the things that you have learned. Tell them why it was necessary for you to make the next job move. And you don't have to be completely honest. You don't have to say you are toxic. You can just tell them, I was looking for growth. I was looking for challenge. I stumbled upon this opportunity. I thought it would be good for me. It looked like the next level for me. And that is why I went for it. And I succeeded in getting the opportunity. Also assure them of the support that you're going to give them. For example, inform them that you're still going to serve your notice, whether it is 1 month, 2 months, whatever notice period you always have in your organization. And also tell them that you will do a proper handover. Tell them that you will close on tasks. Assure them so that they don't feel like now they're helpless. They need to know that everything is still in control in as much as you are leaving. Don't just put panic into your boss. So the first thing is to have that verbal conversation with your line manager. After doing that, then now you send an official resignation to your boss, and this is now the resignation letter. So you send a resignation letter to their email. Of course, the thing is, don't do the official resignation or the the letter before the conversation, because it will shock them. And there's not so much you write in that letter. Usually the letter is very brief, but you see, it should be brief because you have already had the conversation. So don't do it the other way around. Make sure as much as possible you first of all have the conversation, and then do a formal letter to resign. And in that letter, you are sending it to your boss, not to HR. If you want to put HR in it, then you're putting them as CC, but you always resign to your line manager. So you're sending that letter to your line manager, and you can CC HR if that's how it happens in your organization. But still, you can just keep it at line manager level, and it will be their responsibility to communicate that to HR. So whichever is the method that works in your organization, let it work that way. As much as possible, in the resignation letter, also mention when your last day will be, in terms of, I know this is the notice period, and this is how I'm going to serve my notice. If it's 2 months, you can say, okay, I know I have this amount of leave, so I'm going to go for leave in this particular 2 weeks, and then after that I will come and complete, and my last day will be this. That helps your line manager to figure out your clearance process, and also for HR to figure out your clearance process. The third thing, talk about handover. Talk about how you're going to hand over your tasks, all the critical tasks. Let your boss know that you're going to close on all the critical projects. Don't leave things hanging. As much as possible, try to close out on all the tasks that they are critical, and it may be difficult for you to just leave them. Try to close, and try to tell your line manager, this is how I plan on closing, and any tasks that I'm not able to close, these are the projects that I won't be able to close, so that your line manager is aware of what will be pending by the time that you're leaving. They can also help you prioritize what you need to work on. For example, they say, okay, fine, because you have only 1 month here, prioritize these 3 things. The rest you can leave them. I will figure out how they get done. But make sure that your boss is part of the handover process. If possible, do a document. I always prefer to do a document that details every bit of my work and where the status, as at this date, I write the status, and I write what I will do on them, if I will be able to close, and if I'm not able to close, what are the next steps, so that the person who is coming to pick from you can just flow. They can just see what the next steps are. If you are working with any external stakeholders, you want to put their emails there or their phone numbers, and say, I was working with Joanne from this organization on this, and this is where we had gotten to, so that the person coming to pick up from you does not have trouble even knowing where to pick up these conversations from. And another part of handover is handing over to also your stakeholders. If you are in a role where you're engaging with these external partners, suppliers, partners, and all of that, also write them an email and tell them I'm transitioning, and because I'm transitioning to another position, this is the person who will be liaising with you. So already, if there's a replacement for your role by the day you're leaving, you can put that person there and even introduce that person to your partners. If possible, even have a meeting with them and your partners together and just do a formal handover. But if that is not possible, because sometimes your role has not been filled by the time you're leaving, then it's either your line manager that you're handing over to, or your line manager shall have told you who in your department will take over in the interim, or will hold it up for you while they are looking to fill your role. So make sure that you talk about handover. Please make your line manager be very at ease with your transition. The next thing you need to do is to create a folder with all the things that you are doing and surrender that, including the things that you don't think are important. After you resign, you don't want people calling you and asking you, this client had sent this, where is it? And even yourself, you can't remember because your brain has switched off to the other organization. You no longer have those folders with you, and you don't want to be struggling to explain to people where to find things. Or some of those things, maybe even they were sent to your email and now you no longer have the email. So as much as possible, make sure that you create a folder with everything that you have that is work related, even the one that you think is not important. Create that folder. It's just a dump, and put it somewhere. If you have a shared folder in your organization, put it somewhere there. If not, make sure that somebody has it, so that anything they need will be in that folder, and that helps you to have peace where you're going, so that people are not constantly calling you. And it also helps your organization so that they are not stranded because you had some things or some information that they now don't have. The fifth thing, be willing to support the orientation of the one who is coming to take up your role, or even the recruitment of these. So in the event they are able to fill up your position while you're still there, be very supportive in orienting, and just keep a positive attitude. Don't start telling this new person, hey, I don't know if you will survive here. Here, the reason why I left is because this place is very toxic. it's really not in your place. They have applied for this job, they have accepted the position, you had your own reasons why you are exiting. So be very positive even in the way you are orienting them. Give them as much support as you can. In the event this role has not been filled, be willing to refer people to that role, because if you're holding a certain role, for example, for me, when I was in HR, of course I knew so many other HR people, so it's very easy for me to refer and say I'm leaving, but in case you need CVs, or in case you need some referrals for this position, I can give you 2 or 3 and get them some 2 or 3 good people, good referrals for that position. And that way you're supporting the organization in transitioning, and you're showing them that in as much as you're leaving, you're still willing to support the continuity of business in your function. And then the last thing, notify people that you're leaving and let them know that you're willing to keep in touch. And what do I mean? At least let people not just be finding out by grapevine, like someone hasn't seen you for so long, for 2 months, and then they are calling you and you're telling them, no, I left. Try as much as possible to let people know, if it's via email, especially the people who you are working closely with. Let them know whether it's via email or verbally. Let them know that you're exiting, and this also allows them to close any matters that they had with you, any issues, because someone could have been sitting there thinking, what, I'm gonna tell Karen about this, well, they're still thinking, I have already left, now I am gone, and they can no longer find me. So it is good to let people know, so that in case they had any pending issues they wanted to discuss with you, they can bring that to the fore, and you can tell them whether you're able to assist them, or you will pass on that to the person who is gonna come next after you. But in summary, guys, please, let's not burn bridges when we are making our transitions. I think I have spoken in one of my previous episodes and said, you just never know. This world is such a small world, and the industries we work in are so small, so you never know who you're going to meet on the other side. And sometimes even the place you're going thinking it's greener pastures, you may actually find this place was not good and you want to come back. So in that event, you want to be sure that you left a place very well, in a way that they can allow you back. You can even apply for more senior positions in that organization when such arise. So do not burn bridges. Don't send people laptops and just tell them adios, I'm gone. Let people not find out from LinkedIn. They're seeing that you have updated your status, that you're in another organization, and they're wondering, this person already moved. No, please assure your line manager, work with them through that transition. Make sure you serve ample notice. Some of us have, like, maybe you need to serve 1 month notice, but you also have 1 month of leave. So you just tell people, I'm gone from tomorrow, because the rest you can serve in lieu with notice, with leave. Please don't do that. Even if you have leave, figure out how you can tell your manager, even let me do 2 weeks, and then the other 2 weeks I can serve in leave, and the extra leave days you will be compensated for them. And that is by law, you need to be paid for all your leave days. So in the event you haven't utilized all of your leave days by the time you're exiting, you should be paid your leave days. You should be compensated for your leave days. So don't worry about the leave days. Just make sure you are able to work as much as possible. You're able to work through and give your line manager a good transition and a good handover process. That is the end of my episode today, and I would like to hear from the comment section. What have you ever done in your exit process that was good? What did you do that was not bad? What are some of the things that you have seen when people are exiting that are good, or the things that are not so good and you'd like to talk about? Let me know in the comment section. Do not forget to join me tomorrow in the LinkedIn Live. Please follow me on LinkedIn, Karen Olege, and we'll be able to discuss these things in a little bit more detail, where you can ask questions, I can answer them, we can learn from one another. Also, subscribe to this channel, like every content, comment, share, let everybody know what you're edifying yourself with. Until next time, see you.